Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Dragon Actuarial or Blue Dragon Universe. And today's topic is related to why poor countries can't just print money and be rich. And I'm recording this video after a long time because I'm in my hometown. I'm still in my hometown. I'll be returning to my usual place and usual recording area on next Friday, that is 24th. I'm here for my, the Bhai Doja and different festivities. Right, this is the time that many of my friends come here, many of my cousins and relatives come here, so that we all of us can be in one place. And because right now I'm not working, so I took that liberty of having 1 month break, and unfortunately because of that I was not able to kind of prepare or make any presentation. I do remember that I have to make a video on derivatives, how the underlying price of derivatives and the underlying and the derivative price move. But I mean, because that will be slightly complicated topic, and in this environment I don't want to make such a video on such a complicated topic. So I'll be kind of starting with something much lighter, which is why poor countries can't just print money. Now, this is something that is related to inflation, and during my course in the corporate world, I interviewed many people who are from economics background, and I asked them how can a country control inflation or how can RBI control inflation, and surprisingly, none of them was able to answer this. So, if this is something that you do not have understanding to, in spite of passing maybe whatever that subject is called now, maybe CB2 or CT7, it was called CT7 in our time, then you need to understand this. Also, if you are a trader, this is something that we call fundamental news, right? So it is some one of the portion of the fundamental triggers, and it can impact the stock market, right? So it's very important. Now moving on, there are several queries that have received related to our upcoming offering, and I also, like, our team made a post related to GST registration. So just before we come to the topic, I'll just like to address this. So there are several courses that we have planned. Of course, the courses that we were already there, trading related courses are there. I think the entire gamut of trading is kind of covered, right? And now we'll look to improve and better those courses, right? And for trading related course, the more I improve on those courses, the more the fees will increase, because I understand the value that I bring to the table. So there is no, there is no cheap courses, for the lack of a better term. For actually, CT2 or CP2, CP3, SP2 and SS7 course are live, right? And I'm working on SP1 and then Sparkle, right? But right now, I have seen that many people come to me with the complaint that they are not able to make payments, right? Or the UPI payment that we have, that directly comes to my own account. So I don't want to have that. I want to open our current account, and because we have a private limited company, so there are some processes that are pending, administration process like GST registration, and then opening the current account, because current account requires GST, and we are also figuring out all of this because we are also new and starting our own company, so we don't have a lot of knowledge on that, right? So we are also figuring out, and in India the process or the ease of opening a business is very difficult, right? There's GST has made it more, even more challenging and even more difficult. You probably have seen many kind of people getting notices about GST. So we want to be, kind of accurate about that. And any payment gateway integration where you can pay through credit card, debit card, that will improve the user experience, right? So for that, we are not launching any new course. Otherwise, the recording for Sparkle One is kind of partially done. Actual software. This is one of my dream project. It's kind of the recording is done. We paid it this SP1. I'll, I'm come once again. I'm working on this. Right. So all of this, I have now put December, because I hope that after GST registration, the payment integration can be done. It will significantly improve the user payment experience, right? So if they can, you can pay through your credit card, debit card, net banking, etc., etc. Right. So for that, I am waiting for that to launch in a new course, because I don't want to, people coming to me saying that, hey, I can't pay this, or some issue cropping up that actually, kind of takes away our customer from us, because they have a bad experience. They don't want to pay the money, right? But our old courses, like I mentioned, CP2, CP3, SS7, SP2, all these are live, and you can go there and make the payment through UPI, right? I think there might be some bit of struggle sometime. I've seen that, right? Some people are able to can make the payment very easily by scanning. Some people are getting some notification like your UPI limit has exceeded, although their UPI limit has not exceeded. So because of that, I mean, these courses are live. In case you want to, you have any difficulty in making payment, right? You can get in touch with me directly, and I can give you my, my phone number is always available in the website. Our Blue Dragon Universe website. You can also go in the description of this video. You can see that phone number, and you can also make the kind of Google Pay payment. But after you kind of inform me, so the best process is always to go to the payment kind right now, whatever payment gateway is there, and make the payment through that method. And in case it fails, it does not get kind of transferred, then reach out to me and or any of my team members, and then they can help you, right? And all the details are there in the contact us section of Blue Dragon Universe website, right? So this is something that I'm planning. Then the next thing that I'm planning is Excel, right? Excel Intermediate, Advanced, SQL R, right? And then CS1 and CM1 by April 24, for which we are kind of recording, will be recorded videos as well. And there will be also, because this will be the initial, kind of papers. So there will be live, kind of live training on this, or live coaching on this, and several courses on trading that will come in between. Right now, I'm planning a course on how to recover your loss, and then there will be courses on algo trading. I'll improve my option buying course. I'll add more back testing to that. So if you want to kind of understand or trade the way I do, because I have achieved a certain degree of financial independence. I'm not working, but I'm still living a good life, doing whatever I want to, because of my skill set in trading, right? So that is very important. I also feel that is the area that, or domain, that I want to grow into, right, other than the coaching sector. So I think that's it. Any question that you have, because I've received a lot of questions on that, when the next course is coming up. So I'm deliberately stopping all of this, because I don't want, because these are all my dream projects, Sparkle One, actual software, right? So if I don't want any bad user experience, not leading to the final payment to us, right? So that's why we have kind of stopped it. However, the old courses are still there, and you can make payment through UPI, and we'll usually follow the process, because right now everything is kind of recorded. For example, SP2 video, everything is recorded. You can see that in your time, and every bi-weekly there will be doubt clearing sessions, right? In my previous batch, I have seen that people do not come for the doubt clearing session. I actually go sit for 1 hour and there is no one. But I believe that if you finish your course in time, right, and if you finish your chapters in time, then you can come to me and have any discussion related to that, right? I think that can help you, and that can solve any doubts. In any case, the obviously you are seeing this video, so probably you understand the depth of knowledge that I have on those subjects, and I try to blend my practical workings there so that you can understand that. Anyways, I think I've spoken enough about that. So let's move on. So previous method was to print currency, and that follows something called gold standard. The amount of gold a country have in terms of value, a country can print only that much of currency notes, right? So this is some behaving something like a derivative, with gold being the underlying asset, and the currency being the derivative derived out of that gold value, right? But with changes in economic policies and different finance minister, or different central bank governors requiring different uh, leeway or flexibility, the gold standard is slowly removed. And I think it was by 1970, 1980 it was removed. I don't remember the exact year. And we now have something have we called fiat currency, which is freely moving currency. That is, its value is not pegged to a certain precious metal, or the yellow metal or the gold. So it can move freely, right? There is nothing that it has to kind of it is backing, right? There is nothing that is backing. This backing concept is also used in our kind of liability and asset, right? So we keep aside some portion of the asset for the liability that we calculate, right? So I think you understand that part. So that is the same concept that has been used in the gold standard, but right now they have done away with that. So there is no dependency over gold. You might have no gold, but you can still have more currency, and that is the reason. It is one of the primary reason, because the amount of gold a country has can change You might have discovered some amount of gold, but you might start digging somewhere, you might discover some more gold, right? Or some amount of gold might be kind of transferred, imported, so there will be always a fluctuation. So that's the reason that it is not stable. The gold standard would not be stable, so that's why they have moved into fiat currency, also for the flexibility of the monetary policies that central governments are making. Now, fiat currency, this means central bank can print as much money as possible. The reference to gold is no longer required, right? And this also ties up with quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. Ignore the spelling of tightening, right? It's tightening, written as tightening. So it is quantitative tightening. So quantitative easing and quantitative tightening are something that I have covered in Sparkle 1, right? And I think this too in itself would be a separate video, a separate topic. However, I mean, just for your kind of as a uh, thumb rule, maybe you can determine, or you can consider quantitative easing as considered to be expanding the economy, and quantitative tightening is somewhere where you are trying to contract the economy. And you can say, why would government or central bank try to contract the economy? We will see why, right? So expand the economy, we obviously understand that you want to increase the economic activity and everything, but there would be some time that those economic activity will go against you, and then you want to contract the economy, and that we'll see in the course of this presentation only. So printing money is part of quantitative easing because you are trying to expand the economy, right? And then this will make everyone rich, but in relative terms no one will be rich, because that same concept, if everyone got that 15 lakhs in their account, then everyone net worth remains the same, right? You might have more kind of purchasing power, so you get better off, but in terms of, if you compare with others, then it's same, right? The net worth is same. You have not become richer or poorer as compared to others. You might be better off, right? The demands and goods and supply will be, you will increase because you are better off. So demands of goods and supply will be increased. You might want to go in that holiday that you have been planning for a long time if you get that 15 lakhs in your bank account, right? And that will lead to demand pull inflation. There are two types of inflation: cost push inflation and demand pull inflation. So this is because your demand will kind of increase because you have more money, right? When someone prints money and give that to you, then that means you have more money, right? Then you would like to avail those services or products that you are not able to avail before. That will obviously lead to inflation because the supply of the products will go down, the price will increase, right? So that is going to lead to inflation. And a kind of related impact would be depreciation of currency, because the supply of currency also increases, which will cause the depreciation of currencies, right? Exports will become more competitive because your currency goes down. So someone you have to, like, the people who are kind of exporting, that they will find it easier, right? To export, they will have to kind of, like, they will get more money for the export they are doing, but imports will become less competitive, right? And imports will in fact become more costlier, and it will be troublesome if you are importing, if a country is importing a lot more than it is exporting, right? As for example, in India imports a lot of oil, crude oil, right? So if the Indian currency depreciates, then it might benefit the IT company because they are providing service, so they are getting the payment in foreign currency. But for India, they have to make the payment in foreign currency to get crude oil. And if imports become less competitive or more costly, then that would create a serious problem for India, because our economy runs on petrol or diesel, right? So the interest rate have to be raised again, right? The interest rate raising again means you will deposit your money with the bank, and that is the way to control inflation. That's what I was referring when I was interviewing people. And because you get higher interest rates, so when the interest rate 4%, you may think that that is not good. I don't. Why would I keep the money in the bank? I would probably invest in stock market. But then the interest rate became 8%. Now you want to keep the money there because it is more secure, it is more stable, right? So that's why you want to increase the interest rate to check inflation. And obviously, when the money is with the central bank, right, and money is not in your hand, then the supply of currency will reduce. And if the supply of currency reduces, then the currency will again appreciate, right? So that's the economic cycle, right? That's what the central government tries to do. And that is why, that is when this depreciation currency occur, the central government has to step in, and they has to kind of contract the economy. That is the way, or that is the reason why central government contracts the economy. So are the people better off? So obviously the purchasing power increases initially, like I mentioned. You are better off at that initial level, but then inflation starts kicking in, and that purchasing power will also get eroded soon, right? So there is just couple of days or couple of months when you are better off. Then it may not impact all strata of society. So when the government is printing money and they're distributing it to you, it has to come through some legal channel, right? You need to have a bank account to get those money. But if you do not have that bank account, you are not going to get that money. In India, there was some measures taken like a Jan Dhan Yojana, where every person in India was kind of opened a bank account. So because of that, maybe in India that might impact the society. But this means that the infrastructure has to be there. If the infrastructure is not there, then quantity basing or printing of money will not affect all strata of society. If people do not have a bank account, how can they get the printed money from the government, right? Because then there will be only cash that is floating in the streets. It will not hit your account. So that's why you need account, right? Moving on, the industry will get affected due to high inflation, especially if much of the inputs are kind of imported, right? And so this means if a country is cut off from the rest of the world, this may work very well for them, right? But really that is the case now. Now there was a time in 1990s when India was cut off from the rest of the world. Whatever happens in the rest of the world, India was not bothered about that. But these days there are so many, in fact, the entire IT service was based on how much you are going to get money from maybe the foreign like US, Canada, Europe, etc. So obviously there is a edge that India has in providing service, especially in the IT sector. So that is very, very important. And this actually means you are going against the competitive advantage theory. I hope that you understand or you remember what is competitive advantage. It means that you are always better off combining your resource with others rather than going solo, right? And that is just you have to be in a good team, right? So it's competitive advantage theory mentions that you have to be part of a good team. So that is where I believe that this if you cut off yourself from the rest of the world, then this printing of money might work for you because you are not going to be impacted by that export and import, right? But once again, if you cut off yourself from the rest of the world, you will not be growing that much in any way, right? Beyond a point, you need help from everyone. In fact, just to grow a it's a normal kind of normal example, like if you want to say start coding from tomorrow, you have to kind of see an YouTube video, purchase my course or purchase someone book, right? So I think I still do not have any course on coding. All are coming up. So I mean, you have to kind of go through all of those things, and you have to take help from others if you want to grow in your life. So competitive advantage theory is always there, everywhere, right? So this is a practical example, and this is done by U.S. government. So U.S. government prints money during COVID. Markets boomed all over the world after certain time, right? And there are too many people that come into the market at that point of time, and then the market crashed and they lost a lot of their fortune, right? And because of that, there is inflation, the US currency depreciated, and because the US currency depreciated, their import export business got hampered, right? They have a lot of trade relations with China, with India, so they are forced to raise the rates to control that. US economy then swung into recession like scenario. And so as I was kind of saying, US economy is swung into recession like scenario. They never confirmed whether they actually moved into recession, but I believe they did, right? And they're still in recession because of some kind of misguided or hastily taken decision. And then inflation is still out of control. They have kept on increasing the interest rate. There are many banks that have failed, and I don't want to go into much detail of that, but I think to get the picture, right, for how the cycle has kind of going on there, and they had to increase the interest rate to control the inflation, to control the depreciation of currency. Otherwise, they can't deal with there will be too much pressure, political pressure, the government will change, right? So you have to kind of bear with that. And that's why you will see that when you print money, start printing money beyond a certain level, if you have outside trade relation, it will never work out for you. It might work out in the initial bit when your purchasing power increase, but in few months that purchasing power will be eroded and will be much worse off. Also, it will not impact all the strata of society equally, right?
Some far-reaching consequences, like manipulating the currency, will force other currencies or other countries with strong trade relation to manipulate their currency as well. Like if US currency is depreciating, then India currency had to depreciate as well, because India might import something from there, right? Because if there is too much of misbalance, then there will be too much of fluctuation in the profits of the industry, and they will create pressure on the government, right? So the bond price will rise initially and then fall. When the quantitative tightening or the interest rates start rising, they have to fall, because there is an inverse relationship between yield and price, and that will cause a lot of unrealized losses. This is the reason that banks like that SBB Bank, the Credit Suisse, right, all of those failed because of this reason, because of they had to kind of realize those unrealized losses, and this unrealized loss will be huge, really huge. If someone has purchased it during the quantitative easing and then they have moved into quantitative tightening, they will be sitting with a lot of unrealized losses, and that is still the case with most of the financial institutions, especially the bigger ones, right? So they are sitting with huge amount of unrealized loss, and any day, any time, they can crash, right? If then and the Fed or the US governor, they do not have any other option than to increase the interest rate. So government bill will also rise, and the government will struggle to pay off its debt, right? And that we have seen in Greece, something like that has happened, right? And you already have an practical example. So government will be forced to increase taxes. Once again, the government has given you money, and government is taking back that money in form of taxes. So are you better off? No, you are not better off, right? And the government has to kind of divert the attention of the people from the economy, right? Because they are increasing the taxes, so the government don't want the people to talk about that, right? And especially in India, I've seen such scenarios where there is a communal riot going on, where there is discussion over Pakistan and China and etc. Right. So these are all done to kind of divert. These are very kind of useful, or these are very kind of maybe known political tactics to increase the taxes. Whenever you increase the taxes, there will be discussion over that. There will be discussion over unemployment. But if you somehow want to divert the attention so that people are not discussing that, do something else, highlight that in the media. This is how media manages the people perception. So if you see, printing money is not helping you. Government is printing money, and if they are not able to kind of manage that inflation or the consequence of printing money, they have to take it back from you in some manner, right? Or the industry, it will hamper the industry that is prevalent in that country. So that's it. With that, we come to the end of this presentation. If there is any question answer, please write in the comment section. Instead of personally messaging me, please write that in the comment section, right? And I hope that you have liked this video. So if you have liked this video, please hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, then consider subscribing, and stay tuned for my courses and more updates. Follow our page in LinkedIn, right? And yeah, see you in future videos.